This story takes place a few years ago when I lived in a big gambrel in a small town in New Hampshire with my then husband and baby daughter. Shortly after my daughter was born, we started experiencing various things. When my daughter was about 2 years old, we were both in the living room when the outside door handle started to shake violently. I looked out the window to see who was on the stoop, but there was no one there. The door handle continued to shake violently and then suddenly stopped. I never touched it while it was shaking, as I was afraid of what would happen to me if I did. One day, we were in the living room and most of my daughter's toys were in the family room on the other side of the house. One of her favorite toys was a weighted ball that would jingle when you touched it. While my daughter and I were playing quietly in the living room, we heard the jingle ball go off. There were no windows open, no breeze, and we were the only two in the house. I began to think I was hearing things when my daughter ran into the family room and came back with the jingle ball, exclaiming, "Ball! Ball!" Things progressed for the worse. My daughter would be upstairs taking a nap while I was downstairs. I'd hear her screaming. I would run upstairs to find her fast asleep. This would happen often, and when I would tell my husband at the time about these instances, he would belittle me and claim I was making up stories for attention. One night, I went out to an aerobics class and left my husband in charge. He put our daughter to bed, was in the family room a while later, and proceeded to hear her scream. He ran up the stairs to find her fast asleep. He experienced this several times. He tried to write it off as someone screaming from a neighboring house, but the houses were very far apart and the windows were all closed. Through some careful consideration, I began to believe that our house may be haunted by a Native American, and I began to wonder if our house was built over a Native American burial ground. We had a bookcase in the dining room, and on the top shelf of the bookcase was a metal train. Behind the train were Native American arrowheads, a hatchet, and various similar Native American weapons and items. My husband had acquired these items from Painted Post, New York, a town with a strong Native American heritage. He either dug them up or purchased these items from local shops. One morning, he got up late for work. He rushed around the bedroom as he raced off to work, and I heard the front door close. When I got up about an hour later, I found all the arrowheads and Native American artifacts lined up in a straight row under the dining room table. The metal train was still at the top of the bookcase, undisturbed. I called my husband angry, as I felt he had placed these items under the table to mock me for expressing my belief in a Native American haunting of our house. I hung up the phone and left the items under the dining room table. When he got home, he asked me what I had been talking about, and I showed him the arrowheads under the table. His face turned white, and he exclaimed,
"Why did you do this? Why did you do this to me?"
To which I said, "I didn't do it, you did." And he swore up and down that he had not placed the items under the table. A few nights later, my husband and I were arguing about the Native American ghost. I have to mention at this time that the family room was sunken. It was 2 steps down from the kitchen. I was standing in the kitchen a few inches, maybe 3 or 4 inches away from the family room steps. My husband was sitting in the family room. I was trying to convince him of the Native American presence, while he was still sure I had planted the artifacts under the dining room table. The argument got more and more heated, and I said, "What is it going to take?" And after I said that, I felt something push me, and I flew into the family room. I landed at his feet and hit my face on the coffee table. I then said to him, "Now do you believe me?" He got up, got his car keys, and left the house for a few hours. When he returned, I said, "Where were you?" And he said,
"I can't deal with this. We're not talking about this anymore."
I asked him if he thought I had staged the incident, and he said,
"No, I know you were pushed, but I can't handle that we have a ghost here. I don't want to talk about it anymore."
We put the Native American artifacts away, and still, on occasion, would experience minor occurrences, such as screaming or an item from the back of a cupboard jumping out at you when you opened the cupboard door. I didn't share these supernatural experiences with my daughter throughout the years, as I didn't want to scare her. Fast forward a few years later, we end up getting a divorce, and my daughter and I leave him with the house. I want nothing to do with it. One weekend, she is spending time with her father when she is about 10 years old. There is a full-length mirror upstairs to the right of the upstairs bathroom. She gets up one night to go to the bathroom, turning on the hall light. As she exits the bathroom, she turns right, sees her own reflection in the mirror, but also sees a Native American man standing behind her with a raised tomahawk in his hand. She screamed bloody murder. Her father entered the hallway and asked her what was wrong. When she told him what she had seen, he expressed that he believed she had heard all the stories from me, but I had never shared any of the stories with her.